Imagine this. A Roman emperor, ruler of the known world, stands on a beach, his army behind him. Instead of conquering nations, he orders his soldiers to stab the sea, to fight the waves and collect seashells as war trophies. This is the Roman emperor who declared war on the ocean. A story so bizarre it'll explode your mind. Was it madness, genius, or, something else? Join me to unravel the tale of Caligula, the emperor who dared to battle Neptune himself. Before we dive into this wild saga, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because this emperor's story is about to flood your senses. Let's go. Meet Gaius Julius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, better known as Caligula. Little Boots. Born in 12 CE, he was Rome's third emperor, ruling from 37 to 41 CE. Son of war hero Germanicus and Agrippina the Elder, Caligula was a Julio-Claudian golden boy destined for greatness, but his reign, it's legendary for chaos, cruelty, and honestly one insane act, declaring war on the ocean. At 25, Caligula took the throne after Tiberius's death. Early on he was a rock star, freeing prisoners, cutting taxes, throwing epic gladiator games. But by 40 CE, he's ordering soldiers to fight the sea. What happened? Caligula's life was a roller coaster. He lost his father at 7, saw his mother and brothers exiled or killed. When he became emperor, Rome hoped for a savior. That hope? It's a spark of human longing we all feel, rooting for a hero to rise from tragedy. A 2019 Classical Quarterly article notes Caligula's early reign saw him restore democratic elections briefly, a move Tiberius never dared. But after a mysterious illness in 37 CE, his behavior shifted. Executions, paranoia, and that sea stunt. Was it sickness or strategy? It's 40 CE, northern Gaul. Caligula's on a campaign eyeing Britain's conquest. His army's ready, ballistas, catapults, thousands of legionaries. Then out of nowhere he orders them to the shore, not to fight Britons but to attack the sea. Soldiers stab waves, collect seashells, and Caligula declares victory over Neptune, god of the sea. Suetonius, writing in 121 CE, describes it. He bade them gather shells, fill their helmets, calling them spoils due to the capital. Cassius Dio, a century later, backs this up. Caligula even built a lighthouse like Alexandria's Pharos to mark his triumph. Sounds nuts, right? But hold on, there's more. Historian David Woods, in a 2017 Greece and Rome article, argues his shells might be a mistranslation of conchae, meaning British ships captured in the Channel. Were these spoils actually naval trophies, not shells? It flips the story. Picture the soldiers, battle-hardened, loyal, now stabbing water. Were they humiliated, or did they trust their emperor? Their confusion, their duty, it's a human struggle we feel, caught between orders and absurdity. Why fight the ocean? Was Caligula mad, or was this a genius power move? The truth is wilder than you think. Was Caligula insane? Ancient sources like Suetonius paint him as a lunatic, declaring himself a god, planning to make his horse consul. But modern historians aren't so sure. The so-called War on the Sea happened during a stalled Britain campaign. His legions, fresh from Germany, were restless, possibly even mutinous. A 2018 Journal of Roman Studies study actually suggests Caligula faced low morale after cutting wages. So ordering soldiers to fight the sea could have been punishment for refusing to invade Britain, or maybe just a sarcastic stunt to save face. You won't cross the Channel? Fine, conquer Neptune instead. A 2020 classical philology paper notes Caligula's propaganda leaned on divine imagery. By defeating Neptune, he might have been flexing godlike power to awe his troops and Rome. A classic imperial flex, really. Caligula wasn't just an emperor, he was a young man, 28, under pressure to outshine Julius Caesar. His soldiers, ordinary men far from home risking mutiny. Their stories a raw clash of loyalty and survival that honestly echoes in us all. But what drove Caligula to this extreme? The answer lies in Rome's cutthroat politics and its shocking. Rome in 40 CE was a snake pit. Caligula despised the Senate, who absolutely resented his autocratic style. He executed rivals, mocked senators, and pushed his divine status. The war on the sea, it might have been a middle finger to his enemies, proving he could do anything, even conquer nature. Suetonius and Dio, writing decades later, were senatorial class. Their accounts dripped with bias, framing Caligula as a tyrant to warn against absolute power. And a 2019 Historia study argues the seashell story was exaggerated to smear him since he was still popular with the masses. A 2021 American Journal of Philology analysis found Caligula's lighthouse built after the war mirrored Claudius's later British conquest monuments. Was it a dry run for a real invasion, mocked by critics to discredit him? Caligula's war wasn't just on the sea, it was on Rome's elite. He fought for the people's love, risking everything. It's a desperate bid for legacy we can all relate to, chasing glory in a world that fights back. But did others defy the sea like Caligula? Other rulers' ocean battles will blow your mind. So, a 2021 American Journal of Philology analysis found that Caligula's lighthouse, which he built after the so-called war, actually mirrored the monuments Claudius would later build to celebrate his conquest of Britain. Was this lighthouse maybe a kind of dry run for a real invasion? Or perhaps it was just mocked by critics who wanted to discredit him, Caligula wasn't alone in this, not by a long shot. In 480 BCE, Persian king Xerxes I, furious after storms destroyed his bridge over the Hellespont, actually ordered the sea whipped and chained, at least according to Herodotus. Alexander the Great, before he crossed any seas, sacrificed bulls to Poseidon. Even King Canute, back in 11th century England, tried commanding the tides just to prove he wasn't divine. These acts weren't just madness, they were in fact power plays. A 2020 Journal of Ancient History study says rulers used nature as a stage to show dominance or sometimes humility. Caligula's war fits this pattern perfectly. A spectacle to rally his troops or maybe just to mock his foes. A 2017 Iranica Antiqua paper notes that Xerxes' whipping was likely a ritual, not rage, and it was meant to appease the gods. Caligula, steeped in Eastern influences via Rome's trade, might have borrowed this for his own propaganda. These rulers, like Caligula, weren't just fighting water, they were wrestling with their own mortality, their limits. It's a human struggle, daring the impossible, that makes us cheer and ache for them. But what's the legacy of Caligula's war? Its impact on history is staggering. Caligula's so-called war didn't actually conquer Britain, but it did pave the way. In 43 CE, Claudius, who was his successor, launched a real invasion and, succeeded where Caligula had stalled. The lighthouse that Caligula built, it ended up guiding ships, maybe even Claudius's own fleet. His stunt, whether it was mocked or not, actually kept Britain in Rome's sights. A 2023 Britannia study even credits Caligula's campaign with mapping Britain's coast, which made Claudius's conquest a bit easier. And that seashell story, it's become immortal, fueling novels like I, Claudius films, and even memes. Caligula's legacy isn't just about madness, it's really a spark for storytelling. A 2022 Classical Receptions Journal article traces how Robert Graves' I, Claudius really amplified the war on Neptune myth, blending Suetonius's gossip with fiction. That's actually why we tend to think soldiers stabbed at the waves, even though Suetonius never actually says so. Caligula's story survives because, well, it's human, flawed, ambitious, and honestly unforgettable. It reminds us how one act, whether it's mocked or misunderstood, can echo through centuries and inspire us to question what's really true. But is Caligula's war a warning for today? The final twist will, I promise, shock you. So, a 2022 Classical Receptions Journal article actually traces how Robert Graves' I, Claudius really amplified the so-called war on Neptune myth, blending Suetonius's gossip with, well, a fair bit of fiction. That's honestly why we think soldiers stabbed at the waves, even though Suetonius never actually says so. Caligula's story survives, because it's just so human, flawed, ambitious, and honestly unforgettable. It reminds us how one act, whether it's mocked or misunderstood, can echo through the centuries, inspiring us to question what's really true. But is Caligula's war a warning for today? Caligula's war on the sea might feel absurd, but it's not just ancient history. Leaders today still stage spectacles, grand gestures to rally or sometimes distract us. And our fight with the ocean, well, climate change, rising seas, pollution, honestly, it's a real war we're losing. A 2024 History Today article actually compares Caligula's act to modern political stunts like, symbolic border walls or climate pledges with no real action. His war warns us grand gestures without substance fool no one, not even the sea. A 2021 environmental history study points out Roman overfishing in the Mediterranean really strained fish stocks, and that was a problem Caligula just ignored. His so-called victory over the sea actually mirrors our own denial of nature's power. But Caligula's story isn't just a laugh. It's a call to action. We're all fighting nature in some way, but honestly, we can choose to protect it. It's a spark of hope, a chance to write a better legacy than, well, just seashells. That's the Roman emperor who declared war on the ocean, a tale of ambition, spectacle, and lessons that honestly hit pretty close to home. Caligula's war wasn't just a stunt, it's a mirror to our own battles. So what's the wildest historical tale you've ever heard? Drop it in the comments. And hey, if this rocked your world, smash that like button, share with your crew, and subscribe for more epic stories.